So at this point, things are kind of awkward. I've been having this conversation with Teddy. We've been going back and forth about the old times and what the auction's about, but we haven't even had an opportunity to introduce myself to the two women that are with him. So in between the pause of me and Teddy's conversation, I lean to my left and I say, hey, I'm Lorenzo. I'm a good friend of Teddy's from school. If you don't mind me asking, what's your names and how do you know Teddy? So one of them's name's Tyler, the other one's name's Candace. And right before they get an opportunity to tell me how they know Teddy, I actually interrupt, and I probably shouldn't have, but I said, well, what brings you to an auction? Like, what do you like about the auction? At that very moment, Teddy leans across me and he says, I don't even know why they're here. Huge waste of time. They have no clue what's going on in the auction. As a matter of fact, I spent the drive over here trying to teach them how to spell auction. We thought it was kind of funny. So Teddy and I get to laughing, chuckling about it. But in the middle of my giggle, I look to the left and I notice that both Tyler and Candace are not laughing at all. They have this very serious, stolid look on their face. And at that moment, I realized, I think I just messed up. Now, you're probably wondering what happened to everything else, right? And I'd love to tell you that side of the story. If you give me about 8 more minutes, you'll be caught all the way up. My name's Lorenzo. Welcome to Handles. Everyone has a grip on life. Everybody feels like they have a handle. Afraid to share the mistakes. The stories are what connect us. They're the key. We're running out of time. So I'm in North Carolina on a business trip, and while I'm down there, I want to be able to spend some time with my buddy from school that I haven't seen in years. His name is Teddy. So we try to put our schedules together and we find out that there's a certain amount of time that we do have that's free. It just so happens at that time, Teddy's going to be attending an auction, if you will. So he says, Lo, just come on out. You can come to the auction. We'll get you in. We'll have a good time. We'll catch up. It's okay. For me, I'd never been to an auction. Sure, I've seen it like on TV. I've heard about different things, but I'd never been to an auction. So this would be my first ride. But I get there. I see Teddy, we embrace each other, we laugh, giggle about how each other has aged, how we look, we talk about family, so on and so forth. But I notice Teddy's brought 2 women with him. And I'm thinking he's going to introduce me to them, but he doesn't. So we head into the auction, and of course there's rows. If you haven't seen one, there's some rows at this specific auction. And the 2 women walk in first, I walk in next, and then Teddy sits on the end. So Teddy and I are still catching up on things. We're still talking about life and everything that we've missed. And then we start diving into what the auction is about. And I tell him, I said, look, Teddy, this is my first time. I have no idea what's supposed to happen, like what I'm supposed to be doing, if I'm supposed to be doing anything. I just want to enjoy the experience. And one thing that Teddy and I have always had is a huge love for history. We are both history buffs, huge history buffs. So just the excitement and the passion that he has being at that auction just blew me away. And not to mention, this auction had a focus specifically around antiques, the relics, different things like that. You would almost call them period pieces, if you will. And I was excited about that too, because you're looking at things that there's probably only one of in the entire world. So I'm excited about what's going to be presented, and just being a part of it, I'm really happy about. So our conversation keeps going back and forth, and he's walking me through how an auction works. He walks me through the different pieces that are coming up and being introduced. I mean, we are having a blast. But it's still kind of uncomfortable, because I still haven't even been introduced to the 2 women that Teddy bought with us. So I take the time during a little pause to say, hey, my name's Lorenzo. If you don't mind me asking, what's you guys' names? And if I remember correctly, you're now all caught up. So after I focus in on the body language and I notice that that specific joke and these jokes, period, aren't very funny to Tyler and or Candace, then I have to back up, right? Because I'm thinking to myself, well, this must be an uncomfortable situation, so I want no part of that. And it just so happens, like I told you earlier, I'm sitting in the middle, sitting between them. So instead, Teddy and I get back to the conversation around this specific auction. And once again, like I told you earlier, man, we love history. And every piece that came up, Teddy knew everything about it. He was able to explain, show me different things on a pamphlet. It was fantastic. So I look again to my left, and I notice that Candace, who's sitting furthest away from me, is doing some type of drawings. It almost looks like art slash construction, all kinds of stuff. So I don't know what it is, right? So I lean over and I said, hey, if you don't mind me asking, Candace, what is that you're working on? And she says, well, I'm studying to be an architect. And I like these different drawings and stuff, so I'm just putting some things together that I kind of see in my mind. And in the middle of me saying, man, that's pretty cool, that's pretty awesome. How long have you been doing this? I feel that lean again. Here comes Teddy. Teddy says, she's just wasting her time. She has absolutely no talent with being an architect. I don't even know why she's trying to do this. She should be trying to do something else. Hell, anything but being here with us, because this is a waste of time. So at this point, I know there's no reason for me to look at Candace and Tyler. I know exactly what type of body language they're going to have. And now I notice that these specific belittling remarks or quips, if you will, are starting to make a little bit of a knock on those two. So I'm uncomfortable. I look back at Teddy, I change the subject, and we go back into something that's going to completely change his tone once again, which is history, the auction, right? So we get to going back into the auction. I look at the time and I notice it's time for me to roll out. So I was there for about 45 minutes to an hour. I get up, I tell the ladies I'll see them a little bit later on. I tell Teddy, hopefully we all can get together for dinner a little bit later on in the evening. He says, great. So later that evening, we meet for dinner. I'm sitting down and I see Teddy walking in, but I notice he's walking in alone. He's by himself. So as he sits down, he starts diving into what happened at the auction that I missed. And once again, he is lit up like a Christmas tree. He's passionate about it. His tone is all excited. I mean, he can't get enough of talking about all the antiques he saw and those specific period pieces. I mean, amazing stuff. And I gotta admit, I should have stayed a little bit longer. It sounds like some great things popped up after I left. But nevertheless, he is excited about it. He even wrote down some things. He even made a bid on a few items. He didn't get them, but he did make a bid. So this is whole story about how the rest of the auction worked. And I was happy for him. But in the pause, I asked him, I said, hey, if you don't mind me asking, Teddy, where's Tyler and Candace? They were invited too. Did they not want to come out? His tone completely changes. He says, Lo, it's a good thing that they're not here, man. They got other things going on. They would have just been a waste of time anyways. Just a branch on a tree if they would have been here. So at this point, I can't hold it anymore. I got to ask him. So I said, well, if you don't mind me asking, Teddy, how do you know Tyler and Candace? And Teddy starts by saying Tyler is his girlfriend of 6 years. So pretty tenured relationship. And Candace is the neighbor to those two. So Candace lives next door to both Tyler and Teddy. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. I would have never guessed that from a Candace perspective, but that's cool. So I dive back in and say, well, how's the relationship going with Tyler? You guys have clearly been together for a while. What's next steps? Tell me all about it. His tone completely changes. And he's like, she plays a role. She's all right, We're cool. We hang out and, it's nice. And then he immediately changes his tone again and he says, but Lorenzo, you should have seen this one piece that came up the other day at the auction. You would have loved it if you would have saw it there. It had this, and this going on. And in my mind, I couldn't get past how he had different emotions or different reactions towards Tyler and Candace and or his relationship compared to this auction. Teddy was so involved and so excited and so cloud nine-ish, if you will, on this auction that he put no time and attention or even focused in on the conversation we were having about his long-time relationship with Tyler. And it didn't seem like he was too excited about talking about it either way. So I'll leave you with this. If rarity truly does equal value, can you imagine your worth in the right person's eyes? Thanks for spending some time with me today. I sure hope this story added value. If it did, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, and of course, make sure you share this with people you know need to hear it the most. You want more handles? You can follow me on any one of my social media outlets, or you can go directly to the website at the bottom of this page. We'll keep this journey rolling, and I'm glad you're rolling with me. I'll catch you next time, right here on Handles.